I have to say that everything going on with Disney, like, and I get it, companies don't want to admit that they're doing terrible, but let's be real. Disney's getting sued off of investors because they lied about how Disney Plus, or how successful Disney Plus is. They're getting hit with other stuff, and their shows are doing terrible because they're just bad. I don't know about Ahsoka. I'm very excited because I'm a Star Wars Rebels fan. If the 3 to 5 people who actually watch my Star Wars reviews, if you're there and you've seen it, you know Rebels is like my jam. Like, Rebels might... I was struggling between Mandalorian, Rebels, and Force Awakens. I think after a lot of reflection, Rebels is probably my favorite Star Wars project that they've done. I got excited when, and spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, when Rise of Skywalker, I actually heard and saw the ghost and stuff like that. So that's really awesome. So I'm a bit excited to see Ahsoka. Now, I've heard some people say, oh, it's not that great, it's been boring, but then I've also heard people say after the first couple episodes it starts to pick up. I don't know, I'll be the judge when I finally watch it. I still have to finish off Book of Boba Fett and Mandalorian Season 3. I haven't had the gumption, and I've been watching other things, so we'll get to them, and once I do, I'll review them, I guess, to keep up with my Star Wars theme. I haven't even finished Star Wars Visions Season 2 yet, and I love Star Wars Visions, so that's just to tell you. But anyway, going through, I saw the D23, and I'm like, all right, they're giving out Disney Plus for $2 a month for 3 months. Which is interesting that right around the time of the quarter thing, before they have to pump up, the numbers, I'm like, okay, you guys seem to be pumping up the numbers, and you're doing it, you have to do it by like the end of this month or whatever. And I'm like, okay, you get it for 3 months, but that would possibly pump up the subscriber base. So then they could bring that to the investors and say, hey, here's the subscriber base stuff. And I think what's truly happening is, sorry for the change, I'm out of the car, that Disney, and people can talk about it, they can say whatever they want, they're going to have their arguments. What it really comes down to is that their content is just not well received anymore. A lot of times they're pushing the message, they're trying to do stuff instead of trying to make good content. And no, this does not mean that it only works if it's straight white males or some stupid, dumb ideal of that. The problem really comes down to, so if you're going to make something like, for example, when they were making Captain Marvel, they pushed it to say, hey, you had to see this to see Endgame. They hinted to it, right? But the problem is that to make her character strong, she was constantly being held back by the men and stuff like that. Like, that kind of thing is not what makes a strong character. Same way if it turned around and if it was a guy and he was just like, oh, I've been perfect the whole time. All the women they're bad and jerks and stuff like that. Like, if it's that type of story, like 500 Days of Summer, okay, but the problem is we're talking about superheroes. And that's not a normal, typical story for a superhero. But every time I turn around, Disney is making these moves and these stuff, and the parks are down because they're overpriced, and their stuff is like just not good held up. And after watching this D23 and like that new weird looking Figment, I'm like, why do you make him look like that? And not only did he look cheap, he looked weird. And a lot of the stuff was stuff that they announced already, or they're like, yeah, after so many years, this is finally going to production, and a lot of reskins. I can't even think of too many things that was new. And I'm just like, your last year one wasn't that great. Your this year one, I'm not hearing like new moves, which is okay. I get you can't, like, maybe talk about movies and stuff, I guess, because of the strikes. But then again, you're the opposing group to the strike, so you should be able to. I I just look at it from a sense of what is happening. So them doing the $2 a month is because they're desperate and they're pushing for the Ahsoka thing and they're pushing Little Mermaid. And they're like, well, Little Mermaid is like our top stream thing. Well, I have the Disney Plus add-on thing because I had Hulu and it offered it to me to add on for a couple bucks. So I just like, all right, fine. And that's what I did. I can tell you there's not really a lot of content that's worth it on Disney Plus. That's why they're losing. They've lost so many subscribers because honestly, the content that they do produce is not good. Secret Invasion. And here's the thing. Samuel Jackson is one of those actors. I've probably said it before. I literally practically have watched. He's like a Nicolas Cage to me. I will practically watch anything that he's in. And usually I just enjoy it. He's a really good actor. He brings it every time. And this show did not make sense. And I'm like, what is this? I was like, wow, I liked Formula 51, okay? I have that movie. I actually bought it twice. But that's not the point. People didn't like that movie. I actually enjoyed that movie. Like, I enjoyed what he does when he does his thing. And I sat back and went, wow, this is trash. So, another thing where they're pushing the bestest of the bestest of the bestest and all that stuff. And it's like, this is not making you money. And why aren't you learning your lesson? You can do this. I want these diverse characters, but I want them done respectfully and done right. And like, if you have a black character, I don't want the whole time the black character just to be like, well, I'm black, yeah, I'm black, y'all, black, y'all. Like, that's not what I want. I want the character to be a character, to be a full-fledged person, not just walk around and do that. And I think a lot of times when they're doing these things, they're doing that. And also, too, when Disney are making these remakes, they're losing the magic of what made them awesome in the first place that, first off, no one asked for. And secondly, if you're going to do it, it has to have the heart and soul. Are you allowed to make updates? Sure. But it has to have the heart and soul. And these remakes are starting to feel that way. And I think it really started to show with Little Mermaid. And people, they can sit there and say, oh, people streamed the show. First off, I don't believe you. You know why? Because you lied to the people that are giving you money. You lied to your investors. And if you're lying to them, it ain't nothing for you to lie to us. Because I don't hear Disney that often talk about their streaming number. All of a sudden, they're pushing it. Because they're trying to get people to get on board. And now what they're going to do is that after these 3 months, when because I forgot when their thing ends. I think it ends in October. Their quarter thing or whatever. What they'll do is they'll turn around when they have to do another meeting or something. They're going to be like, look at all this subscriber jumping. See, we did it. When really they're just falsely pumping the numbers because people are going to do their they're going to do those couple dollars for a month and they're probably going to drop off again. So I don't know. But after just seeing it, that's just my thoughts. I think D23 really showed just how bad of a place in a spot Disney is. And I don't think they got it anymore. And that's why I also think a lot of places have turned on them because they can't pay them the money to keep up the thing. And I know Comcast is probably going to make them pay soon for the whole Hulu thing, which that's going to be a ton of money. And I think it's going to be more than what they originally were doing. So I'm just spitballing here, just kind of rambling, but that's just my thoughts after watching D23. I think Disney, and they're not the only studio. I think they're just a main focus because they were the big studio and how the mighty have fallen. And yeah, people can sit there and they go, oh, Guardians or something. That was more James Gunn. But even their current movies and stuff, they're not getting as favorable as they are. Yeah, they're still making some profit, and it does crack me up that, for example, Wakanda Forever did not make as much money as the first film, but there are people out there that are like, yeah, and Disney has had a lot of flops. Marvel is one of the only ones I think that's even doing decent for money, and they're starting to go down. Now they're starting to have movies underperform. And it's very funny because when they're doing it, there are people who will make excuses for them. Oh, well, you know, it was this or it was that, and it still did good, and 800 million or whatever it was is still a pretty decent number. But if DC does a number like that, then it's all of a sudden, no, it should have did this. I just find that funny. But we'll see. Like I said, this is just a rambling after watching the D23. It just looks like Disney's broke. Like the cruise line thing. I was like, they just bought one, and it's just like, is anybody, like, I just want to know, is anybody paying for anything? Because right now, Disney World, I would have loved them on, but I'm hearing about and seeing how they're like not keeping their stuff up. The rides are still down. The things are happening. They're just not keeping their stuff up. And it's like, right now, it just doesn't feel worth it. Disney as a whole just doesn't feel worth it. But you tell me what you think. Am I wrong? Just because, just seeing what they were doing, like I said, a lot of the rides, and I don't even remember, because I'm rambling, they were like just reskins. I'm like, okay, that's the same ride. Or like the Epcot thing, they're like changing something. I'm like, well, the stunt car thing, and it was nothing that I saw that got exciting. Like I said, I know I'm not going into details or nothing because I kind of just watched it as I was moving around. So it's just afterwards, this is just my thoughts. Keep protagonists. You stay safe, you stay healthy, you stay real. I'll see you.